Hello everyone and welcome back to, is this the third episode?
It is the third episode.
This is crazy. This is crazy to us.
Yeah, welcome back everybody to the Flourish and Thrive podcast with me, Alice.
And I am Emily.
And we are two girls navigating life in the city in our 20s and just trying to glow up into the best version of ourselves, mentally, spiritually and physically.
Yeah, just find a bit of calm in that, that day-to-day chaos, basically.
Oh, yes. The city chaos.
The city chaos. And we would love it if you'd join us on our journey here to, empower ourselves, just get that little bit better every single day and, flourish and thrive together.
Yes.
I did it. I thought that would be a tongue twister, but we move. So if you guys want to follow us and keep up to date with our journey and when we're going to be posting new episodes,
you can follow us at Flourish and Thrive Pod on Instagram, TikTok and YouTube for more updates.
Lovely. And I just want to put a little disclaimer out here before we get into today's episode. We are not experts. We are not professionals. We are just two girls, corporate girlies in our 20s, just trying to navigate the way through life. So if you do feel like you need to seek help in any way, please do that. We are just here chatting about our experiences.
Yeah, we're just sharing the stories that have worked for us and think might be helpful to other people, just in case anyone resonates with what we're talking about.
Exactly. So what are we talking about today, Alice?
So today we're talking about habits and routines and how to build a good routine, how to stick to a routine, how to build those healthy habits that we know we should all be doing, but we just can't quite get into the swing of.
Yeah. So why is a routine really, really important? Like for me personally, I think a routine is so important because it's like having that priority, knowing what you want to do. I think you've got to really figure out your why.
Yes.
Like when you're trying to build a routine, like what are you building that routine for? Like what are you trying to build? If you're trying to have a good morning routine, why are you having that good morning routine? I think that's the place to start.
That's so true. I think, it's really important to get clear on like the vision, who are you trying to become? Like what's the end goal here? I mean, it shouldn't just all be about some goal in the future. It should be about enjoying the process. But if you have a clear vision on like why you're doing this, who the kind of person you want to be, and what would they do, what would their routines and habits look like,
exactly,
and that can help you to find a starting point on the sort of habits that
you're going to create, for sure. I know for me, one of the routines that this is going to sound really disgusting, but I find it such a chore to wash my face. Like every night, like I find it such a chore to wash my face.
That's relevant. Me too.
Literally. Every night I get into bed and think to myself, what would a girl who has the aesthetic life that I want be doing every single night? She would be washing her goddamn face.
Yes.
And that has helped me build that habit. Like by realizing who I want to be and what I want to become is just building that habit.
Yeah. Your future self will thank you for the habits that you're doing now.
Sure. That is so true.
I also think routines are really important because it allows you to not have to depend so heavily on motivation.
True.
Yeah, if you're just thinking, I'm going to get up and go to the gym tomorrow if I feel like it. And then obviously you're going to wake up early. If you're waking up early and you're just like lying there like...
You're going to want to just sit there, aren't you?
Yeah, but if you actually take the time to make it into a habit, and we're going to give you some tips later on how you could do that, you're not relying on motivation, you're relying on discipline.
And your routine.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Your routine is what will get you into that. Like say for example, taking that gym situation, take that gym situation. If you want to get up first thing in the morning and you want to build that habit of going to the gym every morning, you want to be that gym girly, you want to be that gym queen, make it easier for yourself. That is the thing that I have found works the best. Like if you just put that little bit of effort the night before, like lay out your gym kit, lay out your shoes before, make it as easy as possible to make that decision when you first wake up, because
it's a path of least resistance, right? Like your mind is not gonna want to do hard things. I mean, like it's a human nature to want to do the easier option.
Yeah.
So the easier you can make it for yourself, the easier it will be to stick to the habit.
I think especially with habits, like the hardest thing is to start.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I know for me, one of my personal habits that I'm trying so hard with is studying. Like I'm finding it so hard. So if in case anyone doesn't know, I'm currently trying to study for my SEMA exams. And I say trying because it's really hard. But
what are SEMA exams for
anyone that doesn't know, SEMA stands for Chartered Institute of Management Accountants.
Ooh.
But so I am trying to study to become an accountant, essentially. And starting, for me, is the hardest thing. Like, just laying out my books and getting and sitting down. But even if you just have that even if you just have that motivation with yourself where you're going to say, I'm going to sit down and study for 5 minutes. Or if you say, I'm going to go to the gym for 5 minutes, you probably will end up going there for longer. Like, this isn't new topic or information. Like, I haven't come up with this theory or idea. Like, loads of people have said this. But you're not just going to end up going to the gym for 5 minutes. You're not going to end up studying for 5 minutes. But if you say that to yourself and you say, okay, I'm just going to do it 5 minutes, that's 5 minutes. But say you do end up doing for 5 minutes, you've done 5 minutes more than you'd done. And if you do that every single day, it's the importance of having that habit and that routine, and you'll get through it.
Yeah, you're so right. The hardest part is definitely getting started. But every time you manage to break that resistance, it's going to feel a little bit easier every time. And I have heard about, I think it's like the 2-minute rule or something. So like, say you really need to clean your flat and want to get into a habit of doing a little bit of tidying every evening, set a timer for 2 minutes and just see what you can get done in 2 minutes. And odds are, once you've got that momentum going, you're going to want to just keep going a little bit more. And it's that sort of snowball effect.
Yeah. No, that is such a good tip. Like, I don't know where I learned that, and I will now need to find out where I learned it, because it honestly has saved me so much. I love it so much.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
We've got the book Atomic Habits here, and if anyone has not read it, I think it's definitely a good read. I'm lending it to Alice because she has not read it.
I need to read it.
But it is such a good read, and one of the things that they talk about in Atomic Habits is called habit stacking.
Oh yes, I've heard this, yeah.
I think this is such a good thing if you're trying to build a routine where, say for example, you might not like the thing that you're building a routine for. So for me, it's studying. I don't love studying. I'm not like, it doesn't get me going in the morning. Do you know what I mean?
That's quite natural, yeah.
It's not the kind of thing where I'm going to sit down and like wake up so super excited for studying.
No.
But something that I do love is my music. So I love listening to lo-fi beats, or if you've got a habit you really don't like, stack it with something you do like. So say for example, you don't like going to the gym, but you love listening to your podcasts. Stick the two together and you've got that kind of habit stack where it's like, I will now only listen to a certain type of music whilst I'm studying. And I only get that reward of listening to my lo-fi beats, which is what I do when I'm studying, when I am studying. So I only use that as motivation, as the reward whilst you're doing something that you're not enjoying. And
that's a great idea.
That is such a good tip that I learned from Atomic Habits, and it is such a
I think I saw a study about that where I can't remember, this might not be accurate, but they had a group of people that needed to get into that, they wanted to get into the gym, and so half of the group, they said okay, they were only allowed to listen to the audiobook of the Hunger Games when they were at the gym, and the other control group didn't listen to it. But like, they were only allowed to the group that had the Hunger Games book, they were only allowed to listen to it in the gym. And so they found themselves wanting to keep going back to the gym because they wanted to hear the next part of the story,
more of the book.
So so they like, it's tacking on an enjoyable activity to an activity that you're trying to get into. Yeah, I hope I explained that well.
No, that's good. That's really good. Like, it's such a good thing to like stack the two together. Like that is such a good tip. There's another tip. I think it was Mel Robbins.
Right.
You put this down on the note. We have a shared note. Very cute.
It's very long.
But you put this down on the shared note about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh yeah. So that is literally, I didn't know where I got this from, but
I think it's Mel Robbins. She spoke about this she's got a podcast as well. She's incredible. Like, listen to her. But
so it's such a simple tip. If you're sitting around and you're just procrastinating and you're like, I really should be doing this thing, but I just can't be bothered, and you'll keep putting it off, you can literally just say to yourself, right, I'm going to get up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just get up and do the thing. Like, don't think. Your mind is always going to want to talk you out of doing hard things. So that,
you're always going to think and overthink, like, oh, I could be doing this, I could be doing that. But then you're like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, I'm going to go clean now. Like, you don't even give yourself... Actually, not even that. That was too long of a pause between me saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and, I'm going to go clean. It's literally 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go! You're up and cleaning. You're 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're up and doing this. It's such a simple thing, and I don't know why, but it works. Like, it literally, it's such a good thing as well for getting out of bed in the morning.
Yes, I do
like
that.
If you're just sat there like, oh, I don't want to get out of this warm cozy bed. I mean, that is not the situation in England right now. It is
very hot.
Too over hot in England. Stifling, sweaty, disgusting weather. Don't know why we're recording this podcast, because we have to shut all the like doors and everything.
Shut all the London noise
shut
out.
all the London noise out. And we're just like sweating here. But you know,
we move.
So when you're getting out of bed in the morning, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, up and out.
Yeah, it just
Up
works.
and out. It just it happens and it works. And it's great.
It's like you're like a little rocket ship, just powering up and off you go.
Yeah. I think something as well for me in terms of building that routine, especially for me, a morning routine. Like I think you've got an incredible morning routine. Like you have your little habits that you do every single day.
Yeah.
That you love. Like what's your favourite part of your morning routine?
Oh gosh. Well, I love all of it. I'll talk you through it. So it varies. My weekends are a lot more chill. I don't really stick to a really rigid routine on my weekends. But for my days where I'm in the office and my work from home days.
Like a Monday to Friday routine.
Yeah. Like a work week routine. So I will wake up, and so first thing I do is I take 3 deep breaths lying in bed.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds really lame, but you're just taking that moment to like connect to your body, not let your mind start racing, and like really feel into your body. And then literally just say to yourself, today's going to be a great day. And you're just setting that intention.
I love that.
It sounds so cheesy.
No, but you have to set that intention first thing in the morning.
And literally just smile. Like you look crazy, but no one else is there to see you.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
And then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, off we go.
You're out.
And I have my hot water, which I will talk about on another episode.
Yeah,
but
we're going to talk all
really
about
good.
our gut health and everything. And
yeah, it's
getting
really good for your
yourself
digestion.
feel good.
And while I'm drinking my hot water, I will journal. And we could do another episode about journaling.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I will do 10 minutes of journaling, 10 minutes of yoga, 10 minutes of meditation. And I find that works well for sort of grounding my energy before I go out into the chaos of London.
London chaos, busyness where everyone's
yeah
barging you.
Yeah.
Just ugh.
And then just like I've streamlined the actual getting ready part of my routine because so I literally just have a shower, brush my teeth, all the basic stuff. I would do my makeup on the train to work.
Oh, I love that.
And prepped my breakfast the night before, so I have that in the office. So
that is such a good thing. Like making sure you're prepped the night before. I
yes.
think I think that's the most important thing.
Big
is
time. Mm-hmm.
It's that quote. If you fail to prepare to fail.
Yep.
Like they always used to say that to us in school with our exams and stuff.
Oh,
Literally, fail to prepare to fail. But with your morning routine, it's the exact same thing. Like have your breakfast prepped the night before. Have your gym clothes ready there for you waiting to go. Path of least resistance.
That's it. And I always think, I have the same breakfast in the office every single day, but I love it. It's like Greek yogurt and berries and seeds and things. And I just look forward to it every single day. And like, even if I can't be bothered, I'm feeling like I can't be bothered to meal prep the night before. I'm like, yeah, but future you is going to love you tomorrow when you have that yummy little yogurt breakfast waiting for you.
I think that's such an important thing, like having something to look forward to, because getting up in the morning is hard enough as it is. Like getting out of bed is just, it's the hardest part of the day. Like you should better give yourself claps for getting out of bed every single morning, because it is the hardest thing. Having something to look forward to, like when you first wake up and you have that decision with yourself, am I going to stay here for that 10-15 minutes longer, or am I going to get up? For me, like for Alice, it's getting up and having that yummy breakfast that you want to have and like loving that. For me, it's making my matcha first thing in the morning. Like I've gotten so into matcha lattes. Like for some people, it might be coffee. Like it used to be coffee for me. Like having that one thing in the morning that you look forward to and forces you and makes you excited to get out of bed. I think that's such an important thing. Like find that thing.
That's such a good point. Like making your routine enjoyable.
Yeah.
I think because if it feels like a chore, and it's not getting any easier, you're not gonna stick to it. You have to think about why you're doing it. Like, do you want to just wake up, scroll on your phone for a bit, and then just go to work where your time's not really your own? Or do you want to carve out that little bit of time for yourself where you're doing stuff that you love, you're doing stuff that's beneficial for your growth and for your sort of personal development and your mental health? Yeah, basically it's just important to take that time to have a little bit of time for yourself before your day begins, before you have to think about your responsibilities for other people.
Enjoying it.
Yeah, and just doing what you love. A little bit of what you love will put you in the right mindset for the rest of the day.
For sure. You mentioned about going on your phone, and I think that's a very interesting. I'm going to come up with a devil's advocate thing here.
Ooh, okay.
So, You said phone, like, do you want to be scrolling your phone like it's a negative thing? Like, I know a lot of people looking at the phone is their first thing that they do in the morning. I know for me it is, and I shouldn't be. I should not be looking at my phone first thing, because it is chaotic. Like, the energy on your phone sometimes can be just like, I've deleted the news apps from my phone.
Oh yeah, I never watch the news.
Like, if there's something that is important enough for me to know about, I'll find out about it. Like, people will tell me about something if it's happened on the news that I need to know. So I try to curate everything on my phone that is healthy and good for me.
That's great.
So I find when I wake up first thing in the morning, if you're trying to create that habit of waking up that hour earlier, I find if you set yourself a limit, so if you're trying to get up earlier and you're trying to get up, you're kind of trying to have a lovely breakfast, you're trying to do yoga, you're trying to do all these things, you're going to do it all too much, and you're not going to continue.
Oh yeah.
So one thing that I learned from someone, and it's kind of a devil's advocate thing here, where you be really strict with yourself, but give yourself those 5 minutes on your phone and just practice the habit of waking up at that 6 a.m. time you want to wake up. Because say, for example, if you're trying to wake up at 6 a.m., do yoga, meditate, once you don't have those set routines in place and those set habits, you will fail. Like, you will. But if you give yourself like, okay, I'm going to wake up at 6, but I'm just practicing the art of being awake, and you say, for example, scroll on your phone for 5 minutes and then you're awake, as long as you've curated what is on your phone to be good. Like, say, for example, I used to do it where I don't do it anymore, but for a little while I would just go on motivational TikToks for first thing in the morning, and it was like, that was forcing me to try and stay awake, get up and be awake at 6 a.m. rather than get up and not really be awake. So I think that's if you're trying to get into the routine of waking up, I think that's a good little tip that could help you, but you've got to be strict with yourself.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I love that, because you're making social media work for you.
Yeah.
And you're putting it in a positive light. I think, the more when I said scrolling, I meant like,
If
when
you're
you
there
can't
for like
stop
half an hour
and you're kind of just getting sucked into like comparing yourself and other negative stuff that might come up, that's when it can become an issue. But if you're able to maintain that boundary with yourself where you're just doing 5 minutes or whatever, and it benefits you, then that's great. I love that. I think for me, I've set these like time limits on my phone, but I just ignore them immediately.
No, me too. It's so bad. Like, I have an hour a day. I have an hour a day set for TikTok, and I ignore it every single day. It gets to the end of the week, it gives you your screen report, and you've spent like 7 hours of your week on TikTok. And it's like, that's a lot of time that I could have been productive. To be fair, I'm making TikToks, which is productive in its own right. But it's crazy to see how much actual physical time I could have spent on something else. On building these habits that I wanted to do for my routine.
I think that's where the discipline comes in.
The discipline has to come in.
I'm still struggling with that, to be honest. Like, since I started creating content as well, like, I never used to actually have TikTok until I started becoming a creator on the platform. But now, oh gosh, I can see how addictive it is. And I'm like, where did the last hour go? Like, I should have been actually doing productive things, or, well, you don't always have to be productive, but if there's things that you do want to get done, then it's really important to try and put those boundaries in place. But I am still, it's a work in progress.
No, but I think for both of us, it's definitely a work in progress. Like, that is exactly what we're trying to like say here. We're not perfectionists. We're not perfect.
We are perfectionists.
We're perfectionists,
but we're not perfect.
But we're not perfect. Like, we are just out here trying to like make the best situation possible, essentially.
And if anyone has any tips,
for sure, please slide into our like DMs on our I can't say that word, Flourish and Thrive pod on Instagram. Slide into our DMs and let us know any tips.
How do you set boundaries on social media? Please help, because it's not working.
Help us.
I hear this thing where, I don't know if I told you about this, but I put my phone in black and white for a while.
How's that going?
It actually did work. I made it too easy to turn off though, and now I've just keep forgetting to turn it back. I made it too easy to turn off, and now I just keep turning it back on. But apparently it reduces the amount of dopamine that you get from social media, because like everything looks more boring in black and white, right? Like those little red notification dots that you get. Put them in red. The tech companies profit off of your attention
being like sucked into that.
It's so addictive, and like apparently if you have it in black and white, that all of that sort of extra dopamine that you get from all the bright colors, it's sort of reduced because it's just less interesting. So that was working for me until I made it too easy to turn off. And
then now it's just like, no.
So don't do that.
It's the exact same thing with like the screen time. Like, it's so easy. Like, it comes up like 5 minutes remaining for TikTok today, and I'm like, oops. That's an interesting one.
I don't even think now. Like that's the power as well of habits in a negative way.
In a negative way.
Like the first time I press that ignore, I'm like, oh, I'll just do it this once. But then it becomes easier to press ignore every single time.
Because you've built that habit of when that notification pops up, you don't even do it.
Yeah.
And then that's something that Atomic Habits also talks about, is like doing a habit audit. So like when you're coming in through the door, what is the next thing you do? So when you go from one habit to another, is each individual step that you're doing what you want it to do?
Yeah.
So say for example, when I usually come in from my day, this was me trying to get myself into studying, right?
Yeah.
I was like thinking like, right, I come in, first thing I do, take my shoes off, I put my keys in my little key bowl, I do all those things, like hang my thing up, but I do it in the same order, like, and that's just because it's habit and it keeps your mind free.
It's autopilot. Yeah.
It's to keep you safe essentially, so that you have more awareness for, it's literally like back to caveman times, like it's so that you have more awareness for if a bear's about to eat you.
Oh, that's so interesting, like the fight or flight response.
But yeah, so each little thing that I do when I come back in, and then it was saying like, so once you get to a certain point, the next thing that I used to be doing is just sitting right like on this sofa and then just scrolling. And it's having that habit, so it's like after I put my coat away, I will go and then have a shower and like literally change it, whereas instead of sitting here just like in my like clothes that I've been in London all day, which is so gross, and sitting here, it's like instead of going in and having a shower, putting like some comfy clothes on and then going studying, it's just having that like audit of each individual step of your process and where it's helping or where it's being negative.
That's such a good tip. I need to go and do that.
Like, and being really, really thoughtful of it.
Yeah, really. Yeah, because there's so much stuff that you just don't even...
It's autopilot. Yeah. It's fully autopilot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a really great tip. I'm gonna start doing that.
It's a good one. Circling back to morning routines and like our morning situation. Apparently, Richard Branson, who's like the founder of, what is it?
Is it Virgin?
Virgin? I don't know. So I think there's a real power in early risers versus night owls. Now, I know a lot of people are probably going to come at me for saying this, where they're like, oh no, I'm so productive in the evenings. Like, I really can get stuff done in the evenings. But I think there's such a power in waking up early and having that time to yourself. Like you mentioned before, like having that time to yourself before you're thrown out into the chaos of London.
Yeah. Like
Richard Branson, he gets up at something crazy like 5:30 or 5:45 or something, and he will get out and have that time to apparently kite surf. And I didn't
random, but I love it.
Yeah. But he takes that time for himself, and that's his time every single morning. And there's literally proven statistics of it where billionaires, millionaires, whatever, will have their set morning routines, and having that morning routine is such like a good thing to have. Essentially,
I love that, because it also, just doing that thing that you love first thing in the morning is proving, it's reaffirming to your subconscious that you are worth doing the things that you love. You're worth taking that time for before you have to give your time away to work or your family or your kids or whatever it is. Just like reaffirming to yourself that you are worth this time. I think that's so powerful.
And having yourself, I think you have that intention in the morning. Like when you're having, like you said, you're putting the power in yourself. You're putting that power in yourself when you're waking up earlier to have that morning routine, to have that special thing that is getting you through. You're doing it for yourself. Whereas I find a lot of the time, if you say, I am really productive at night, but it's like, you've got to be very intentional with it. Like you can, and I know this is something that I struggle a lot with, is I can just get sucked into a whole rabbit hole of watching YouTube videos.
Yeah, me too.
Like I can, and that will just be my evening. And I would, and for me personally, like things I want to focus on are like this podcast, content creation, and my studying. Like those things are probably like, and also like family time, friendship time, all of that. But like, content creation, studying, pod. They're the things where I'm like, that's what I want to be investing my time and energy into.
No, that's really good that you have such a clear vision of your priorities. I think, as long as you keep that in the back of your mind, then you can't go too far wrong. But I definitely agree that like you're definitely, I don't know, I am more productive in the morning. I think I have no problem doing my morning routine, but getting into a night routine has been so difficult for me. Like, just having a set time. I keep saying to myself, I want to be in bed by like at 9:30 and I want to read my book, but it always ends up being later than that, and also I end up reading for way too long because I've got really into reading recently, guys.
What book are you on at the minute?
I'm reading A Secret History, and
What's
it's quite random actually. It's one of those like modern classics.
Okay.
It's kind of a weird one, but it's really really addictive. After when you're asleep, your brain is obviously replenishing itself. You're resting. Your mind is somewhat settled, and then you wake up and you're feeling fresh, and it's so much easier for you to have that motivation and that clear intention. But when you've had all the whatever your day has held for you, stresses at work or whatever, all sorts of input coming at you, adverts, social media, everything sort of distracting your attention. You've had you've gone through your day, your mind has sort of been taken in all different directions. I definitely think that makes it a lot harder for me personally, to have the discipline to stick to a night routine. But that's something I really need to work on. And if anyone has any tips, please let me know.
Yeah, no, please let me know as well, because I love when I can do a good night routine. I love it. Like I got into a stage, I don't know why I stopped, but I did get into a habit where I would be coming home, and this I think was whilst I was reading Atomic Habits, so I think you'll really benefit from it. But I was coming home, I was doing this audit of all the things that I was doing and what I wanted to get out of it. So I was coming home, I was doing, I literally remember I was like, shoes off, bag there, keys there, coat there, shower, and it was like, this one goes to the next, this goes to the next, this goes next. And what it was after the shower, comfy clothes, it was grab my books and go sit in the coffee shop and study for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it would be once I come back from studying, it would be do my dinner, and then that's when I would have my time to watch my YouTube videos whilst I'm cooking. And that's something I enjoy. Like I love cooking, I love watching my YouTube videos. That's after my studying, and only after then I can allow myself to do that. Having that, and then that's my screen time.
Yeah.
And then I would have my 45 minutes or so before I went to bed. I would like fully do like a good skincare routine. Like having a good skincare routine and products you like love putting on your face is there's nothing better. It hits different. Like it really does. Like having those and like feeling bougie about it. Like there's something about like there's one thing if you want to get into like having a good routine, but like it's those elevated little, I'm getting into like a slightly different topic here because we can definitely talk about like romanticizing your life, but it's like having those elevated basics. So like if you have like a nice pajamas, and like they sell some good pajamas at Primark. I'm not saying you have to spend like 70 or 80 quid on pajamas, like silk pajamas. They have some of my favorite pajamas are from Primark. Like just having those little extra nice things that make you look forward to certain parts of your day or of your routine really helps.
Yeah, that's so true. Like for my journaling, I love to have like a really pretty journal that just sparks joy. I mean, my handwriting is atrocious, you literally can't read any of it, but
I loved your handwriting in school. I remember thinking like, I want handwriting.
It's got awful, honestly. It's like my hand is going too fast for my thoughts.
You're lefty as well, so you always used to get it
smudging, yeah, all of that. But yeah, having a cute little journal really helps me in keeping that journaling habit.
I need to get myself a journal. I'm good at it. I feel like I was doing it on my iPad for a while.
That's fine. I mean, that's also really good.
It's good because I didn't want to buy myself the journal then never use it. So I told myself like, okay, if you start journaling on your iPad and you really enjoy it, then get yourself a journal. But now I've kind of fallen out of the habit. So I'm like, I think it's sticking to the habits that is really the difficult part. Like, I think that is something that I need to reread Atomic Habits once you're done with it, because it's sticking to it and creating something where it becomes natural. It becomes what you do every single day. Or every single week, or every single however.
I think what's helped me in sticking to those habits like journaling and yoga and meditation is reminding myself, what am I doing this for? So like I say I have no night routine, but I always do journal before I go to bed, because I know that it will help me process any emotions that have come up in the day. That really works for me. And also it's just so nice to look back on what I've done each day, and like that brings me so much joy to like look through my old journals and be like, oh, look how far I've come, or look what lovely thing I did that day. And I'm like thinking, yeah, future me will thank me for doing this.
For doing this now.
And the same with like my yoga and my meditation, because that has transformed my life. And doing just a little bit, just 10 minutes every day.
It's the 1%.
Exactly, yeah. You're just 1% better than you were the day before. And so that's a non-negotiable for me, especially on my work days. Yeah, just getting clear on why you're doing it. What is the benefit to you? Because if there's no benefit, if you're just doing it because you think you should be doing it, like say you're going to the gym, you absolutely hate it, but you're dragging yourself to the gym every day just because that's what all the influencers are saying you should be doing.
That's what everyone says you should be doing because it's this and that.
Then it's not gonna ever kind of get easier. If truly to your core you don't enjoy it, it's about finding what works for you and how that can benefit you.
And like finding a gym that you like or something you like to, like for example using the gym, if you're just going to the gym because you think you should be going to the gym, find an exercise you love.
Yes.
Like Alice and I are obsessed with SoulCycle.
Oh yes.
I'm forcing Alice to say she's obsessed with SoulCycle.
No, I love
because
it.
I have literally SoulCycle is my baby. Like
I'm so glad you introduced me to it. I love it.
It's so good. I'm sorry.
They do Taylor Swift ones. What songs I like?
We not sponsored, but sponsor us, MJ.
We love MJ. He's great.
He is a king, queen, everything in all rights. Yeah, SoulCycle. Find something you love. Find something that Marie Kondo sparks joy.
Yes.
Like find that thing that sparks you to get out of like bed in the morning.
Yeah,
like, I've said this before, but
finding joy is so important because life is made of those little moments. Life is basically made up of routines, whether you're conscious of your routine or you're not. Your
habits become you.
Yeah, and so it's so important to find joy in your routine in any way that you can, because those little routines make up your whole life essentially.
Yeah, they do.
So circling back to tips on how you can stick to a habit and implement a habit. There's something I saw on a YouTube video by Michelle B. I don't know if you know her.
I've heard of the name. Yeah, Michelle B. I've definitely heard the name.
She's brilliant for habits and routines and time management and anything like that. So definitely check her out. She talks about environment design, which is essentially setting up your environment for success,
right.
to stick to your habits and routines. So, for example, if you want to start working out in the morning, every morning, maybe there's a way that you could sort of set up your yoga mat so that it's there when you wake up in the morning, or your dumbbells are out already for you and your clothes are out there.
Your gym kit being there that you have to go.
So it's kind of like like you say, doing an audit, but doing an audit of your environment. Yeah. Is it set up to serve your success and your routines, or are there sort of blocks in the way?
Are there blocks in the way? Yeah.
So like, I don't know, if you really want to get into journaling, if it's really hard to access your journal, it's in a drawer and it's all cluttered and it's like annoying to get to, you're not gonna do it. But if there's a way you can, maybe you just put it on your nightstand as soon as you wake up in the morning, you can just grab it. So it's about designing your room, your space in a way that works for your habits. And it's again the path of least resistance.
Yes, path of least resistance, like making sure that it's easy for you to do those steps that you want to do. Like having that, because once you have a block, once you have a boundary, it's just another thing in your mind that's going to be like, I don't have to do it today.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, thank you.
And the mind does not take much for it to decide it doesn't want to do something.
The ego is like, nah. No, thank you. I'm good here. Like, I'll just stay in my little hobbit hole of comfortness.
Oh yes. I love that.
It will be perfectly happy keeping you comfortable, but that's not where we want to be.
No, we want to level
where
up
we want to be
and flourish and thrive.
Yeah. Something that's really helped me in terms of like designing my environment and designing that perfect morning routine, because for me morning routines are so essential. Getting up in the morning, there's something called, now I need to remember the correct name for it, it's like decision fatigue.
Ooh,
so
yes.
The thing that anything you can do to make you have less decision fatigue will benefit you so greatly. So something, I didn't do it this morning, so I've done it. So it's what day are we on? Wednesday.
Yeah.
I've been to the office Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday this week.
Ooh,
I know,
girl, corporate girly.
After like a morning after COVID, that's just like,
I know,
crazy.
3 days in a row actually exhausts me.
Me too, it's crazy. Anyway, so like Monday, Tuesday, I had my outfits hanging on that door handle that you can see behind me. If you're listening to the audio, there is a door behind me and I'm pointing to a door handle. But I had my outfit literally hanging on a hanger. It's probably that hanger. There's a hanger on my table. For Monday and Tuesday of what I was going to wear, so that I knew the night before what I was going to wear and I would just put it on. This morning I didn't know what I was going to wear. I picked something and it took me so long, and I actually had a worse off day because of it. And I was telling you because I was like, I haven't exercised in a while. I've put myself into a soul tomorrow. Don't you worry, girlies. Like, just having those kind of, like having those things in the morning that helps you make less decisions,
minimizing the options,
where you're not having to make a decision first thing in the morning, so your brain can really think about the stuff that you need to think about. So your brain isn't already tired by the time you get into work. So when you get into work and you're already feeling like, oh, I've made so many decisions today, and you're already feeling that stress at 9 a.m. when you log in, like that is not going to be helpful for you. But if you've planned your day and made yourself apologies, if you've planned your morning and made everything the path of least resistance, you've reduced your decision fatigue as much as you possibly can, you're going to have a better day for it.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about streamlining your routine, streamlining your choices. Like, I lay my clothes out the night before as well, because
it's so helpful.
And I find it so annoying as well the night before. I'm like, oh, I've got to do this now. But like, I know, again, future me will thank me tomorrow morning when I don't have to pick what
you say you don't have a good night routine, but I think you do.
Like, you've
got your journaling, you've got your like laying everything out. That's like a good night routine.
I think for me it's sticking to a time. And it's sticking to a bedtime. I want to be really strict on myself, so I'm in bed by this amount of time, and I'm not reading until midnight. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, reading's good for you, but you know, sleep is good too.
Do you know one thing that I've found kind of helps a little bit, or has helped me? This is a bit bougie. This is very bougie, actually.
Go on.
I've bought these lights, and they're from a brand called Tapo, and they turn on and off automatically. Every night at 10 p.m. they turn off.
Okay.
So I physically cannot read. I cannot do anything. It means that I can, every single night, 10 p.m, lights are out. And that's I mean, I don't stick to it sometimes. I can't lie to you. Sometimes I will just be like, oh, scroll. Oops. But if that's something that's helped me, if that resonates or helps anyone.
That's a great idea.
I mean, it's a bit random and bougie, but
it's a good tip, honestly.
Anyway.
I was going to say one more thing about if you are wanting to stop scrolling as much as you are. Like, we've talked about how scrolling a little bit of social media can be beneficial if you're really strict with your boundaries. But if you are the kind of person who finds yourself staying up until 3 a.m. scrolling on TikTok, and you're like, we've all been there. And then you find that you don't feel good, or you wake up in the morning and you do just spend a lot more time than you want to on your social media. Something that has helped me is putting your phone out of sight, out of mind. I literally, and okay, I've got a little bit lax at this in the evenings recently, but I always, before I go to bed, before I'm reading, before I'm journaling, any of that, I will put my phone on airplane mode or do not disturb, and I will put it in a drawer. And this is environmental design again, because if your phone is, I find if I can see my phone, I'm like, I want to reach for it. And it's addictive. It's so, you feel that urge. It's like an addictive urge. But if it's out of your sight, it sounds really simple, but I'm less likely to reach for it, because I'm like, I've put that boundary in place. And then because it's already in the drawer when I've gone to sleep, I wake up and I can't see my phone, and it's out of sight, out of mind again. And
how do you wake up?
This is bougie as well. I have a second phone, but no, not like an actual second phone. It's my like broken old phone that I literally just use for an alarm. That like I couldn't trade back into the Apple Store because the screen's smashed. So
no, that's such a good idea, because I feel like so many people have like old tech lying around.
Or even just getting like a cheap alarm clock off Amazon.
They cost like £10.
So the fact that my phone is out of sight in the morning, I found that I can go longer and longer without looking at it, and now I make it a challenge to get to at least like 11 a.m. without checking my phone.
I love that.
Like in the office, and I can feel that urge. I can like, oh, maybe I've got some notifications that like. The longer you can go without looking at your phone, I think the better your attention is going to be throughout the rest of the day. Because I think that the after I've checked it the initial time, it is like it kind of just triggers that dopamine response, and you're more likely to reach for it continually. So putting off that initial check is really helpful. I know it can be really hard, but like I say, out of sight, out of mind has helped for me.
No, I love that.
I
think that I do you know what, I might try that tonight. Out of sight, out of mind. Have my phone like, I don't know, just somewhere else. And just not keep it away.
It can be helpful. Let me know how you get on.
I like that. I will do. I feel like we've done another whopper episode.
Oh, blimey. We just have so many things to say.
We do, and I feel like there's so much more we probably could say. If you want to hear more of this, please do subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Music, all of that good stuff.
Yep, and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Flourish and Thrive Pod if you want to see little snippets,
see a bit more, see when we're uploading. We haven't figured out our schedule yet, but
we'll get there.
We'll get there.
I think a good way to finish this podcast would be
if
we both share one habit that we want to work on, either breaking a bad habit or implementing a good habit.
Oh, that's a good one. I think for me, it's definitely my screen time. Like, I mean, we spoke about it a lot more. We spoke about it in depth on this podcast, and I think that is because for me, my screen time is the biggest thing. Like, I want to really get into not having a whole day just not on my phone. Like, I did it once, I was so bored, but it was so good for me.
Dopamine detox.
So good for you.
We can definitely do an episode on that.
For sure. But I think my habit that I want to work on in terms of like a negative habit that I do is screen time, for sure. What about you?
So I think, again, for me, it's screen time. I think that's just such a common thing for everyone.
I think a lot of people resonate with that.
But specifically, like, finding because like now I'm getting into the content creation stuff. I don't know if this is relevant to a lot of people, but maybe some of you. Finding a routine in that respect, finding a sort of content strategy, a routine that I can build around my 9-to-5 job,
like your day-to-day life.
Yeah, something that doesn't feel like a lot of resistance and like that is taking up a lot of time, but I think that will just get easier the more I do it. In terms of something I want to implement, I meditate before work, but I sometimes get home and feel so scattered and frazzled from all the overstimulation. Yeah. So I was on a coaching call with my friend Gabrielle. She's She the Force on Instagram if you want to go follow. She's amazing. And she said that something you can do is literally just making it a habit to, once you get in from work, the first thing you do is just taking like 2 minutes or something, like 2 or 3 minutes, or even 3 deep breaths.
I thought you were going to say deep breath. That's why I did like a massive deep breath there.
Yeah, that could be enough. But yeah, like literally just sitting and connecting back with your body. Like sit with your hand on your heart or whatever it is, and just like notice how you feel. Yeah. Instead of immediately going into the next thing you've got to do, or making dinner or scrolling or whatever it is. I really want to start implementing that just to reconnect with myself, recenter, reground, and shake off the stress that's accumulated throughout the day. So that's something I'm trying to start doing.
No, I love that. That's a good thing. I like that. That's definitely something I feel like we could all implement. Like, just feeling.
It doesn't take long. It's just making it a habit.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
If you've got any topics you want us to cover, please let us know. I feel like that we really want to get, like, we have a whole note, but like if there's anything in particular that you want us to cover, let us know.
Yes, please do. And also, if you have any questions about any of the stuff we covered in this episode or any of the previous episodes, definitely message us on Instagram at Flourish and Thrive Pod.
We also do have an email. It's just flourishandthrivepod@gmail.com.
Oh my God, send us an email.
Send us an email if you're old school like that.
So yeah, that's about it from us. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching if you're on YouTube. And
hopefully we'll see you in the next one, or hopefully you'll hear us in the next one.
Okay,
cool.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.